Okay, so as we have discussed in the earlier class, the few concepts of the PHP, that how we can start the programming. So I hope everyone have understood that. So does anyone of you have any doubts in the any of the concept that we have discussed in last class? So we have gone through the how we can define the comments, how we'll be able to write a simple program, and we also have seen that how to run the PHP program in the XAMPP server, right? So and we have seen that how to concatenate the string, and we have seen the two print methods, that is the echo and the printf. Okay, so if anyone of you have the any doubts regarding the any of the concept, so let me know. So I'll give you the 2 minutes of time if you have the any confusion over there, right? So the thing is that whatever we have discussed in the last class, the most of the concepts you are already well versed with the concepts. But the thing that you need to remember here is the way how the PHP part is embedded within the HTML, or else how the HTML is embedded within the PHP part. Correct. So that you need to remember, and that you need to get practiced. And that happens only when you write the programs, or at least the practice the programs directly in the editor. Okay. So coming to the next concept over here is the program control. So we are in today's class we are going to discuss regarding the various control statements, right? So which are the control statements that are given as a choice over here in this PHP is if statements, if else if ladder statements, and also the switch statement. Correct. Okay, so the keyword that is used for writing the if statement is the if itself, and followed to that the keyword that is used for the else if is the completely else, followed by the space if, and followed by the condition over here. Okay, so now for the syntax, you don't have the much difference for the syntax as compared with the C programming language here. So in this case also you are going to use the if keyword, followed by within the parenthesis you are going to specify the condition, and the body needs to be enclosed within the flower braces here. Right. So similarly for the else if conditions, else if statements also. So else if is given with the complete else word, followed by the space and the if, and followed by the condition within the parenthesis, and as usual the body within the flower brace here. Correct. So you can include as many else if as it is required by the program. The condition in the mandatory thing is the last one needs to be enclosed with the else part only. Okay, so this is how you are going to write over here. Okay. So coming to the actual example, this is just the syntax, or it is, you can say that the partial part of the PHP, just to show you that how you can begin using the control statements, right? So if you want to use it with the proper PHP as well as the HTML, so there are the two possibilities here, right? So these two are not the one program, these two are the separate one, where you can say that you can use it in the either of these two ways, right? The choice is left to you as a programmer here. But I'll tell you the which one is going to be the easiest method that we can use for writing the PHP along with the HTML. Right. So in the first case, as you can see here, when you want to begin with the PHP section of the coding, so the notation that is used here is the lesser than symbol followed by the question mark PHP. All right. So begin writing the PHP statements, whatever you want to include here. So the if condition is a part of the PHP, and the rest of the condition or beginning of the flower brace is part of the PHP here, right? So if you feel that the part of the PHP is completed, so just close that PHP part. So follow to that what we are interested is based upon if this if condition, that is if the condition is going to be true, so you want to execute the HTML directly, the HTML part of the code. So by closing the PHP part, it doesn't mean that this if condition is not going to be followed with these HTML. So of course these HTML statements are for the if condition itself. The only part is, so which section or the which platform will be executed at the if statement is defined with the this beginning and the closing of the PHP notations here. Correct. So follow to the true for this if condition, these two statements will be executed. That is the links will be created here. Right. So next is once you want to complete this if statement, the next part is you need to close the flower base, right? So again closing the flower base is a part of the PHP, and beginning of the else part is also the part of the PHP, right? So for which again you need to once again open the PHP notation, that and you need to write the everything which is the section of the php, and then you are going to close it here, right? So why we are closing again here, the body of the else is again the two HTML statements that needs to be included, which needs to be outside the PHP section. So include the two statements, and then again the closing of this else part is the only the flower base is also the part of the PHP, which has to be included within the closing within the PHP opening and the closing section of the PHP here, right? So this is the one way where you can use it. But here there is a too much hectic that you need to frequently open the PHP basic element, and you need to close them, and you need to once again open even in case of the single flower brace also, right? So what is the easiest way is include only once. So open the PHP and close it. But what is the condition over here is whatever the HTML sections or the whichever the HTML elements that you want to execute, include them as part of the echo statement here. So that is done. This can be happened only when you use the PHP for the first time, right? So begin the PHP section and followed that include the whatever the PHP part you want to include exactly in the same way as it did in this example. So directly you can start with the if statements flower brace, and follow to that you can see here once the condition of this if statement is true, so you want to execute these two HTML parts, right? So since you want to make it to be embedded as a part of the PHP only, so you can take it with the echo statement and include the HTML element entirely within either the single quote or the double quote, right? So I already discussed in the last class that how does it is going to make difference if you take the double quotation for the echo statement and the single quotes here, right? So again the choice is left to you as a programmer here that what do you want to do for the echo statement. But make sure that if you are taking only once the PHP part, so the HTML sections whatever you want to execute them as a elements, that has to be included as a part of the echo statement here, right? So in this case you can see it in this example. So once the condition is true, so these two statements has to be executed. If the condition is not true, then the else part means these two statements has to be executed here, correct? So let's see the execution with the example here. Okay, so the same thing has been typed here. Instead I have taken the only one of the section to be executed here. Okay, sorry, the both the sections I have taken here, right? So in this case you can see here I have started with the PHP section, and I have just initialized. So this is just for the demonstration that I have initialized the user variable with the value logged in here. So that means always the if condition is going to be true in with respect to this example here, right? So what you need to concentrate here is only the syntax, that how it is being used here. So begin with the PHP, include all the PHP section over here, so close it. So the rest of thing, if you want to make it to be HTML, directly take the HTML elements here. So even for the closing and beginning with the else, you need to take again once again the PHP to begin here, right? So the again followed by the another two HTML elements and followed by the closing over here, right? So this is going to work exactly the same way how even this example is going to work here, right? So I'm not saying that you are going to find the difference with the result here. Instead it is as good as saying that these are the two possible ways how to use the PHP and the HTML over here, right? So the which one is going to be convenient to you as a programmer, you can adopt it, right? So the other example is just begin with once PHP, include everything within the PHP. So wherever you come across with the HTML elements to be executed, make it as a part of the echo statement. So this is going to get executed with the HTML here. Okay. So let's see the execution here. So I hope everyone is familiar with the execution of the PHP programs now. Okay, so in this, we are first interested in to check out the output of this third program here. So based upon the true condition, why? Because we have already taken the value of the this variable as a logged in, so always it is going to execute only the if condition over here. So just to demonstrate over here, so depending upon the logic, you can vary it over there. So if it is a logged in status, it has to give the two links as a result over there, so which is done over here. So you can see here, so the two links has been created here, right? So follow to that, one more example is the same one, but written with a different procedure or the different syntax, you can say, right? So which is going to again give you the same result over here. Okay, so this is how best you can use the if and the if else statements here. Okay, so follow to the switch one. So already you know that when you need to go for using the switch statements, right? So when you have the multiple or the more number of the conditions to be matched with particular parameter over there, then you can go for using the switch. Now, what is the syntax that has to be used for this switch statement? Here is the keyword is switch followed by the parameter that you want to pass here, right? So one thing that you need to remember here is the value what you are going to pass for this parameter needs to be the exactly the same as for this the case parameter what you have taken. For example, in this case, these are the strings. The value that you are going to pass to this switch needs to be the string itself here. Okay. So how it is going to execute, I need not have to explain it in detail, right? So already you know that. So whenever you are using the switch statement, so the value whatever is passed over here, so that is checked against the each of the cases here. So it will check whether it matches with the PT, or else whether it matches with the SSC, or else I think there are only the two cases over here, right? So if at all it doesn't matches the any of the cases, the default the default statement is going to be executed here. Okay, so all the case needs to be ended with the break statement. Why? Because if any one of the case is matched, after executing this body of that case, it has to come out of the switch statement itself, right? So this is the way, exactly the same how you are going to use it with the other programming languages as well, right? So the equivalently the same code can also be written using the if else ladder here, right? So one more thing, just I want to tell you here is, as I'm rushing with these concepts, don't be under impression that these are not going to be asked as a theory question. So of course you might expect the questions on the theory questions on these concepts as well. For example, you might get to explain the various control statements supported by the PHP, or else you might be individually asked to explain the if else ladder and the switch statements. So you might explain it with a syntax and the example. So these kind of questions also can be expected for this, right? So however, the rest of the thing is the programming part over there. Okay. So now coming to the loops. So is everyone clear with the control statements? Probably it will be clear because you people are familiar with it, but make sure that you get practiced with the syntax. Okay. So any doubt, or shall I continue? At least let me confirm that whether you people are following or not, so that I can continue with the further concepts here. Say yes or no. Do I proceed, or you people have any problem over here? See, one thing I just want to know that few of you are just joining the meet and you people are not attending it actively over there. So how did I get to know here that when I last class when I end the class, so few of you stayed logged in for the longer period of time. So I just wanted to check out this part only. So I don't want to mention their names over here. So I know their names. So if you are going to do that, generally again it is not going to be that much beneficial over here. Do not just join the classes for the attendance sake over here. And so because it is you who are going to face the offline examination where you need to understand the concepts, right? I don't know why you people do that. So please do not repeat that. Okay, so those whoever have done that, so do not just join the class and you just leave the system or your mobile somewhere else. Okay, so that is not at all the good sign of a you people, Right. So now at least let get me confirm that whether you people are following or not. Okay, so do I proceed with the further concept, or you have any discussion over here? You people are there? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me know you people understood or have any confusion over there. Okay, so I don't understand what is the problem of the interaction here, man. So at least you can say yes or no. Okay, so I assume that you people have understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so coming to the loop, what is the loop? If you want to execute the certain set of the statements repeatedly based upon some condition, and so at that time you can go for using the loops. And for the loops, PHP is also going to support for the while loop, do while loop, as well as the for loop here. So as with the other programming language, right? So just tell me what is the difference between the while and the do while loop here? It would be better if I ask you the questions or if I have the discussion with you people. So unless or else simply I have to just repeat everything which you already know. Right. So it would be better if you tell me what is the difference between the while and the do while loop. How does the while loop gets executed and how does the do while loop gets executed here? Can any one of you answer this? You already know it, right? So what is that mean hesitation over here? So which already you know, which you have used with the 3 to 4 programming languages I am asking you, isn't it? So what is the difference between while and the do while loop?
No,
While
while
loop
is
is
Yes? Yes. Any one of you? Who is girl? Who is that girl who was just speaking right now?
while loop is executed when the condition is true. Only condition is true.
Okay. What about do while? How do while is different with the while loop here? How it is different here? What is the difference? You don't know the difference between while and the do while loop? Definitely everyone knows this, isn't it? See, if we are going to be interactive in the class, then it is also going to be interesting for me to take the classes for you people. Otherwise, it is going to be the only one-way communication where I'll be repeatedly answering you. It's not a theory subject, right? It is not at all a theory subject where you are going to be bored to say few things. So hardly I will be asking you anything. So in that also, if you hesitate to interact over here, then it will be very difficult for me to take the classes. Okay, so what's the difference over here? Of course, she told that the for the while loop, the statements will be executed only once the condition is true, and the statements is going to continue until and unless the condition is true. So once the condition is false, the while loop will be terminated here, right? So what happens with the do while loop then? What happens with there is only one difference with the while and the do while loop, right? So the do while is also going to work exactly the same, but the difference over here is at least once these two statements will be executed, at least once the body of the do while loop will be executed before checking the condition. Correct. So whereas in this case, if for the first iteration itself the condition gets failed, it is going to terminate the loop. Whereas in this case, do while loop, it is going to execute this part at least once before checking the condition for the first time. Okay. So this is what is the difference between the do while and the do while loop, and the rest of the logic behind the execution is remains same. Okay. So followed to the for loop, what is the syntax to be used here is again it is going to take the three parameters for the for loop. The first one is the initialization, the second one is the condition, third one is the increment or the decrement over here. Okay, so the only difference here is the way in which the variable is used. The variable already you know that in PHP it has to be used with the dollar symbol here. Correct. So apart from only the constant values, you have to use it with the dollar symbol here, right? So the rest of the things are same over here. Okay. So alternative syntax, you can just check it by yourself here. Okay. So coming to the next part over here is include files, right? So whenever you are writing any programs, or else you are developing the any project, so you might require to refer the some other file which you have written. So for that you are going to use the keyword known as the include here, through which you can refer the any kind of the files with the current program where you are writing. So you can refer to the another php file, you can refer even to the html file also, right? So we'll see this with the example over here, and there are the four types that you can use here. So one is the include, and that one is the include once, and this is the require, and it is the require once here. Okay. So now what is the difference between all these four? We'll see the example, and then we'll get into this explanation over here. Okay. So for which see to explain you how you can use the include, I have created the one more file known as the footer.php, which does contain some copyright information which can be included at the bottom of the every file wherever this file is going to be referred. So this is completely the separate file which has been created as the footer.php, which contains only simple print statements, which does have the copyright information within it, right? So this is where we have used the reference to this footer.php. So this is a separate another file which has been named as a include example.php over here. So within this you can see here, so the first few four statements are directly the html part only, and at the last in between you can see here, along with this information, what we want to do here is we want to include this file information to be a part of this html at this section over here. So after the some more text content that is being the part of the html page over there, so instead of taking out writing it, so I just want to refer some other file over here. So how to do that? So as usual, it is a part of the php section. So begin with this php element. So use the keyword as a include. So the keyword that is required for including or referring the any file over here is include, followed to the name of the file directly over here. Suppose if it is in the same folder, directly you can take the name of the file. Suppose if you have created that, or if you want to refer the files in some other folder, so you need to provide the complete path name over here, right? So end the semicolon and close the php section, and you are just going to complete the rest of the html elements over here, right? So once we execute here, so you'll get to know how does it is going to make difference. The contents of the this file is going to be the part of this section over here. Okay. So the name of the file which we have to execute is the include.php here, this one. So you can see here, so these three statements, what has been displayed here is the part of the html itself. So these three statements are the part of the html itself. The last one is which we want to take the contents referring to the some external file, right? So how to do that? Using the include, and whatever the contents of this php, or whatever is there in this file, that needs to be executed over here. So in this photo.php, we have the echo statement with these contents to be displayed. So you can see directly it is going to execute that file, and the result of which is going to be the part of this section where it has been referred here. So you can see the copyright, and this has been taken over here, which is there in this footer copyright. So wta.com, so that is displayed over here. Okay. So this is how you can include the some other files within the existing current program where you are writing it. Okay. So for doing that, we have the four different types here. So include once, require, and the require once here, right? So what is the difference with these four types of the include statements here? So we'll see. So include and include once. So what happens here is, so if you take the include, so no matter how many times you include, it is going to allow you to include the file whichever you are referring for the n number of the times. And include once in the sense it is going to be referred for only once. Suppose if you have already referred it once in that program where you are using it, so it is not going to allow you to refer the same file once again over there. Instead it is going to generate the error over there, right? So the one more difference between the include or the require over here is, suppose if the file what you are referring is doesn't exist, or the path is not correct, or if the file itself doesn't exist, in that case, instead of generating the error, the include or include once is going to give the warning, and the rest of the statements will be executed as usual. So follow to these two statements, whatever the statements that you have in your program, that will be continued with the execution, along with the warning that will be given with the include or the include once, right? Now what happens for the require or the require once is, it is also going to do the same thing. It is going to load the file, or it is going to execute the file whichever you are referring here. And require once in the sense, it is also going to allow you for referring only once here. But what is the difference between this include or the require here is, here it is going to give you the warning and it is going to continue with the execution of the further statements. But in require or the requirements, it is going to generate an error if the file doesn't exist, and it is going to abort the execution of the rest of the statements. So that is what the difference between the include or the require over here. Okay, so do remember these points. So along with the program, you might also be asked with the theory question as explain the different versions of the include and the require, or else you might be asked with the differentiate between the include and the require in the PHP, right? So in that case, you should be able to explain the way how I have explained you here. Okay. So the difference here is, with the include and the require is, if the include you will get an warning and then continues with the execution of the further statements, whereas in require it is going to generate the error if file doesn't exist, and it will abort the program itself. That means the rest of the statements will not be executed. So whereas case with the once over here, so with the include you might be allowed to refer it as many times as you want, but with the once it is going to allow you to refer this file only once over there. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you. Okay, so follow to the last concept from this chapter is functions here. Okay, so what is a function? There are the two types of the functions, as with the other programming languages as well, the user defined function and the built-in function. So one example of the built-in function that we have seen in the earlier examples is the date. So built-in functions are the functions or the methods which are defined by the PHP, which you can directly use them in your program. Whereas the user defined function is the one which is written by the programmer or the developer over here, right? So we'll see the syntax, how we can write the user defined function here. So how the programmer can define his own function in PHP here. So the syntax that is used here is, the keyword that requires for defining or writing or developing the any function is the function. The keyword is function, all in lowercase letters, correct? So followed by the space and followed by the name of the function with parentheses. So you can pass the parameters if it is going to accept, or else you can take the empty parentheses over here, right? So how the body has of the function needs to be written within the flower braces here. Correct. So how to get executed with this function? Only by defining the function and the body of the function, the compiler will not execute the function over here. So only when you call this name explicitly somewhere in the program, at that time this body of this function gets executed over there. Okay, so this is the one more example over here. So the function output or menu, right? So again, which is not having the any parameters over here. So the rest of the body is the print statements with the HTML parts to be executed here. Okay, so call a function, as I told you, only by defining the body or the name of the function, it is not going to be executed. Explicitly, you need to call the function, right? So again, here you can see it has to be either called with the some variable if it is going to return any value. If it is not returning any value, as in these earlier examples, these two examples will not return the any values. So for that you can simply call that function only by the name which will be getting executed. Suppose if you have written a function which is going to return a value, I hope you know what is returning a value, right? So I need not have to explain it in detail, isn't it? So returning in the sense, it is going to give you result in the some form, that is either in the integer or the string or the float or whichever the type that you have defined for that function. So in that case, whenever you come across with the functions where it is going to return some value, make sure that you execute that method with some variable to get the result to be stored over there, or else you can execute it with the echo statement over there, right? So the one which is not going to return, you can see here the name of the function as it is, and terminate with the semicolon here. Okay. So now coming to the functions where you are going to use the parameters, you are not always not going to write the function where you need not have to pass the any values or the parameters. Of course, when you say that you are defining the functions, you might come across with writing a function where you need to pass the parameters there, right? So to define a function with the parameters, what you must to decide is, first you need to be sure that how many parameters that you have to pass to the function and in which order they has to be passed, and each parameter must be named over there, right? So this thing is definitely going to play a very important role whenever you are writing a function with the parameters, right? So the order, the number of the parameters between the called function and calling function needs to be same, and the order in which the called function is going to accept the values, the same way the calling function, in the same order the calling function should have the parameters, right? So if you change with these things, the order, definitely you are not going to get any error. Instead, the output, expected output, is not going to be displayed over there, right? So make sure that the number of the parameters needs to be same. If you mismatch with the parameters, definitely you will get an error, but whereas in case with the order, you will not get an error. Instead, the expected output will not be executed over there, right? So each parameter must be given with certain names over there, right? So now we'll see one example here. So you can see here in this case, we have defined the function get nice time with the name get nice time, which is taking only one parameter here. So the name of the parameter here is the show second, so where you need to pass the certain value to it, and based upon this value, you are going to execute the function body here, right? So you can see within the function we have used the if else statements, for which we will check the what is the value of the parameter. If it is true, you have to return the date. If it is not true, you should not, you should return only the hours and the minutes over here. If it is true, you have to return the date with the seconds over here. Correct. So to get executed with this function, what you need to do here is, you can see here, you can call that function with the echo statement, and whatever the value that you want to pass, you can pass here. So it is accepting either the true or false. That means you can pass with the at most two possible parameters here as the 1 and 0. So with the 1, it is going to be executed. With the 0, this part is going to be executed here. Okay. So you can also write the function with the default values here, right? So you can see here, as compared with the previous example where we have taken only the parameter here, right? So in this example, you can see here, we have taken the same parameter, but we have assigned some value to it. That doesn't mean that this variable is always going to contain the value what you have assigned over here. So what is the difference here is, if you are going to call this function without any parameter, see in this case, if you are going to call this function without the parameter, so definitely this will not be executed. Instead, you will get an error over there, right? So in this case, where you have taken the default value to be assigned to this parameter, suppose if you call this function without the parameter, that parameter is going to be assigned with this value, right? So if you call with it a certain parameter, you are going to consider that parameter itself with which it is called over there. Okay, so that is the difference between the default value and without the default value. So again, whether you need to take the default values or not, it is left to you as a logic, that where you want to take the default values to be set if the function is going to be called without any values over there. Okay. So coming to the last concept of this chapter is the pass by value and the pass by reference over here. Okay. So what is the difference between the pass by value and the pass by reference? So now we have seen that how you can define the functions, and we also seen that we can define the functions with the parameters or the without the parameters. Right. So once you say that being a programmer, you are writing or defining the function which is going to take the certain parameters over there. Right. So again with the parameters, there are the two possibilities that while calling that function, you can call the function with the pass by value or with the pass by reference, right? So these two are going to play very important role when you are going to deal with the data, the large amount of the data, and you as a programmer is going to decide what needs to be done with that data, right? So earlier, wherever in whichever the location that you have stored, suppose if you are not interested that data to be modified once you perform some operation through the program, in that case you have to go for using the pass by value over there, right? So as in this example we'll see here. So what has been done here, you can see the function has been defined with the one parameter with the value as the argument as a name over here. So what we are doing as a part of this body here, so we are just adding the 300 to this value whatever is being passed over here, and that is going to be displayed here as a result. Okay. So outside the body of this function, what we have done, we have taken the another variable which has the value as a 15 here. So the initial is a variable which have the value 15, and what we are doing in this part, we are just printing that value. So the printing the whatever the value that we have assigned to this variable here, which is 15 here, right? So then we are calling that function. This particular statement is calling this function by passing the value here. This is the variable what we are passing, we are passing the value, so we are directly taking only the variable name over here. And here also we can see here in this parameter we are directly taking only the variable name over here. So that means this is different variable and this is the different variable itself. These two are the different variables here. So whatever the operations that you do with this variable is not reflected to this initial variable here. So only you can see here. So the argument variable, once you get executed, the 15 will be added to this value. So that will be printed here. So which for which arg will have the 315 here. So after that, what we are doing here, so we are once again printing the value of the initial which does contain the original value itself as a 15 here. So what conclusion you can make here, suppose if you this way of calling with only the variable names, no matter with the whatever the variable name that you have taken, so these two should be different variable names through which you can say that the original value whatever the variable what you have passed here is not going to be altered if you have taken the different variable name over here. Okay. So with contrast to this pass by value, we have the one more concept known as the pass by reference here. So what is the difference with this pass by value or the pass by reference over here is not with only the different variable names here. So along with that, suppose if you use the ampersand symbol here, which is going to reference to the address over here instead of the only the variable at the different locations, if you use the ampersand symbol, it is going to point to the same memory location. That means whatever the operation that you are going to perform, so it is going to reflect it back to the where you are going to call that function. That means these two are going to point to the same memory location. So that means the changes is going to be reflected back to that memory location here. So that's why you can see here. So the initial value has a 15, and then you have this value altered 315, and which is going to be reflected to the memory location. Why? Because you are referring to the specific memory location that is reflected over there. So the value of that is the value of the original initial variable is also updated with the value 315 here. Okay. So this can be better explained with this figure here. So you can see here how does it is going to be make difference and how does it is going to be changed over here. So as with this case, you can see at the pass by value, these two are going to point to the different locations over here, right? So you have not at all used the any ampersand symbol here. So that's why these two are treated with the different locations and the different memories only. So only whenever you change the any value with the arg variable, it is not reflected to the initial here. Correct. So though you are passing with the 15 with the ARG, it will not be reflected over here. Right. So as in this case with the reference, you can see here. So once you call that function by passing the initial variable, so the ARG is also considered with the 15. And since you are taking it as an ampersand symbol, it is going to point back to the same memory location. Here it has been not indicated. These two are going to point to the same memory location. So that's why whatever the changes that you make to this ARG will be reflected with the that variable name also. Okay, so that is the difference between the call by value and the call by reference over here. Okay, so coming to the next concept over here is the scope of the variables within the function. Okay, so all the variables defined within a function have the function scope, meaning that they are only accessible within the function. So that is for sure. So whichever the variables that you declare within the body of the function, the scope of that variable is restricted only to that body itself. You cannot access this variable outside the function. Right. So the any variables created outside the function in the main script are unavailable within the function. Correct. So that is also the true in PHP. If you take the any variables which is outside the function, you cannot access this variable inside the function. Okay. So now what is meant by the global variables now? So the variables defined in the main script are said to have the global scope. So you can see here these have the, unlike in the other programming languages, a global variable is not by the default available within the functions. So within the function, you cannot have the defaultly available as it is said in this case only. So the variables which are going to be declared outside the function, you cannot access directly within the function over there. Then how to do that, or how you are going to do that? So for that you need to use the global keyword in order to get access with the variables which are defined outside the function here. So here these variables can be used anywhere in the program, but to use these variables within the function, you need to use the global as a keyword for that variable name. So then only you will be able to use the whatever the values or the variables that you have assigned outside the function over there. Okay, so this is all with the basic concepts of the PHP part. So which is with respect to the one section of the PHP chapter. Right. So with this chapter, the third module is completed here. Right. So we have the one more chapter which is the part of the fourth module on the PHP itself to get with the more complicated parts of the programming, where we are going to see with the examples how we are going to link with the HTML part. So the HTML designing what we have studied earlier, and for the forms what we have designed with the HTML. So how we are going to write the PHP part for that, how we are going to access the data from the HTML to this PHP, and how we are going to process that data, and meanwhile how we are going to send the acknowledgement or the result back to the HTML. These all things we are going to study in the next part of this PHP chapter, which is the part of the fourth module, right? But with this chapter we are going to end with the third module here. Okay, so does anyone of you have the any doubts here? Does anyone of you have the any doubts here?